You're listening to Healing in Hindsight, a health and wellness podcast where we strive to conquer type 2 diabetes. Hosted by me, Taylor Daniele. When I was first diagnosed, I didn't have a lot of people around my age who lived similar lifestyles to learn from. I want you to know you're not alone, and we'll have real, honest, and vulnerable conversations about it all. Here, I share my struggles, tips, and more. Hey guys. So, as you know, I've been doing these kind of like impromptu, behind the scenes, here are my thoughts kind of thing. If you're not familiar with that, check out the previous episode where I'm introducing that. But I wanted to ensure that alongside with the, informational content that I'm bringing you guys, that I also just share my thoughts in general about everything that's going on, where I'm kind of at in my journey. Excuse me. And honestly, it just feels nice to be able to talk and not always have it surrounding, what the overall show is about. I think it's helpful to also include just a little bit more about me and how I'm processing the way that the world is going right now, as well as just stuff going on with myself and as it relates to the show. So forgive any, unprofessional quality audio type stuff. I'm moving around. I like to walk and talk at the same time. I tend to pace. I'm in the process of making some tea, so you might hear me knocking that out. But I had a thought this morning before I really deep dive into my day job about personal growth and the shifts and challenges that we face as we are doing the work on ourselves. So as it pertains to me, in trying to, really bring out, I feel something of value with the show, but there's a lot that comes up as you're working on passion. I don't even want to say project. I know that that's the normal term, but it feels slightly dismissive for me of like, once I'm done with this, I wash my hands of it and I'm free, and that's not it. It's just kind of like, this is me taking steps towards creating the life and the structure that I want for myself. As much as I appreciate my current job and past jobs, I always knew deep down in my being, in my soul, that I wanted to run and do my own thing. I didn't know how. Leadership scared me. So I'm like, man, I don't know about owning stuff or, being the big boss. I kind of like having a leader ahead of me that can kind of guide me. And what I recognize is I just meant I want mentorship. And so now that I know that, I can start to really look at my circle, look at people who are kind of modeling what I would like to see in my life, and reaching out and trying to find those, people that I feel like I can gain a lot of education from through mentorship. So that's something that I plan on really taking a leap into. I would just eye people from the side, but I never really like, what if I just kind of picked your brain once a week or something like that. So there's that. But like, now that I've recognized that I can have that type of support in a, outside of a corporate structure, right? There's been a lot that I've been doing to really focus inward, to make sure that I am in the best place with myself before, not even before, while I'm trying to encourage and teach others. I'm definitely of a mindset of it needs to be perfect before sharing. And I recognize that that's totally not it. I'm aware of the done is better than perfect, and sometimes you just need to do it, instead of trying to make it so automated and so, build the template around it, if you will, that I miss the whole process of it being messy and, putting something out there and getting feedback and learning, because at the end of the day, sometimes when you create, especially if it's for other people, if it's for yourself, I feel like you have a bit of room to do this. But I still even think with yourself, like sometimes you just need to put something out there to see the reaction of things and then shift. Especially coming from a very kind of, not very, but like an artistical background. My dad is a musician. My mom is an artist, although she doesn't do much art now. Mom, you need to paint more. Anyways, like coming from that, I didn't realize I grew up with this process of trial and error. When you're writing a song or when you're playing an instrument or even when you're, recording and producing music, it is a constant reworking of something, right? You have to build up certain pieces and then you put it all together and then you listen to it and you edit, even in writing, same process. You read it, you edit, you read it, you edit, And so this process sometimes means, that's my tea going. There we go. This process sometimes means putting it out there, getting feedback and applying that feedback to the next, piece or next episode, if you will, if we're taking the show, for example. And that has been a very, very hard thing for me to implement. And as it pertains to myself, I think there was an aspect of me that really believed that you are who you are and that doesn't change. And I think there's a lot of that perception out there. But I feel like there should be like an asterisk to that or honestly kind of, I almost want to scrap the saying because I think it's more you are who you are and change is what grows you. So it doesn't mean that the values and principles that I stand on don't take a form of evolution. I might be trying to think of the best way to kind of paint the picture here, but like, I might be stubborn, but I can't lean on that as an excuse for why I don't grow. That stubbornness trait is good in some aspects and bad in others. And there are moments where that does not need to be the forefront. There are moments where I don't need to say, well, I'm just stubborn and that's never going to change. So me moving forward in this next step is just not going to happen. No, it's more so I am stubborn. It is a part of who I am. However, I won't allow that trait of myself to prevent me from growing and reaching, a higher sense of self. With that, I need to be stubborn in other areas. It's more like a tool of myself that I use to help me maintain balance without preventing me from growing. So I just had this thought this morning about feeling like I'm in this state of metamorphosis, if you will, of just like shedding the cocoon or shedding skin or molting, this transformation. Birds molt, dogs shed. It doesn't change that they're an animal. It doesn't change that they're a bird, doesn't change that they're a dog. It's just an old part of themselves that no longer serves purpose and it falls away. And so I think it's crazy not to believe that our minds and our spirits aren't the same way. And so here I am, doing my normal day to day, getting my breakfast ready, getting ready to, get to work and do my thing. And lately I've been feeling a lot of just heaviness and frustration and agitation. And, part of it is, we just had a new moon cycle begin. So like, I understand that with the new moon comes, it can be a tough kind of transition sometimes because it really just amplifies. And it's in Cancer for the second time. So it's just like, okay, there's a lot that's being moved, and I'm also a Cancer rising sign. So the next, the new moon for the second time being in Cancer, really was shifting me emotionally a lot. And even outside of that, if astrology is not your thing, I've just recognized now, I literally just had this aha moment. I'm like, I really need to hop on and share this with you guys. That I'm going through a deep change, and it's bigger than the kind of surface level what we present out to other people. I'm going through a deep change within myself. And I'm recognizing a lot of the negative things that I say to myself, in my mind, but it's not loud enough for me to really acknowledge that it's me saying it. And recently I've been hearing those critical voices a lot more. And it's just kind of driven me into this state of paralysis of, even as I'm walking around now, I'm like, all I see are to-do lists, right? And then the voices in my head just start to pick up of like, you've got this to do, you've got that to do, you've got this to do, you've got that to do. And you wasted your time, when you could have been doing this. And, just all of this back tracing of shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I end up stuck. I end up upset. I end up agitated. I end up like so stuck in figuring out what's the next best step that I just missed the momentum to just take a step, whether that's knocking out the laundry on the couch or, actually putting some laundry in the washer or cleaning the kitchen or, all of these things that, of course, when you look around and you see, a to-do list for the living room, a to-do list for the kitchen, a to-do list that's just one aspect too. That's just, my apartment. Right. And then there's stuff for the show. Right. And then there's stuff for staying engaged with you guys online and really trying to build this into a really large community. There's the health aspect, because, I can create the show all day long, but I also need to make sure that I'm walking in what I'm sharing. I don't want to share something or, do something or sell something that's like not in line with what I'm actually living day to day. And so there's that piece, of my nutrition and making sure I'm exercising. And then there's my relationships, my partner, my friends, my family, my dogs, there are all of these to-do lists, quote unquote, that pop up or that I see everywhere. And I get so overwhelmed because I'm like, where do I start? Because I want to do the whole living room start to finish, not do one piece and then do a piece of the other and then do a piece of the other. And it's interesting because I definitely feel like ADHD has been something prevalent in my life that I just didn't know because it wasn't a severe case kind of thing. But finishing is hard for me. And it's something that I've been battling for a very long time to find my rhythm of how to complete things without feeling like I didn't complete them. Because I'll walk around the house and I'll start, let's say I start cleaning the bathroom. And then I'll walk into the kitchen and I'm like, oh, there's that dish there. I probably should knock that out. And then I'll start doing that. And then I'll get so absorbed with that I forget that I started cleaning the bathroom. And so now you'll find me, I'll even say it out loud when I start something and I see myself, kind of squirrel moment distracted. And I start trying to put my attention into another task. I have to very, very consciously stop and be like, wait, did I finish what I was doing in there? Okay, don't do this yet. Go finish that. Then you can come to this, because that's just how my mind works. And it takes a lot of energy for me to do that. And so I'm recognizing that all of this fear and anxiety and everything that is just like really pressing in on me is because I'm about to enter a next phase. I'm about to, grow new feathers, if you will. I've got a phoenix tattooed on me. How many life cycles do you feel, the mythical phoenix goes through. It has the ability to be reborn. So, and we talk about this in so many different places, being reborn in a religious sense, being reborn, in even in work. Like when you're promoted, it's a new birth, if you think about it, because you're taking on a brand new role and you're kind of starting from square one again and building expertise in something. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is I'm struggling, because growth and change can be painful. It can be heavy. It can be very hard. It does not mean it's not necessary. I don't know if I really experience like growing pains like guys do, where like you're getting taller and it hurts, or at least I've heard it more often with men than I do women. Not to say that women don't go through it. But it's uncomfortable. And I'm just, again, I just had this aha moment this morning of like, oh shit, something is about to really change. And I need to go through this uncomfortable feeling where all of the stuff that I wasn't paying attention to in my mind is starting to creep up, and it's getting louder and louder and more uncomfortable and louder. And I'm being challenged in a lot of different directions because things are about to change, and I'm about to shed that skin and be presented new and kind of with new eyes, new mindset, all of that, in order to be able to receive the next thing. A caterpillar can't stay a caterpillar if it wants to fly, right? It has to, kind of go into a dormant state, which can be uncomfortable. Sitting and waiting for things to happen is uncomfortable. I definitely feel a little bit of impatience because I'm like, I'm ready for the next thing. I'm ready for the next thing. Am I? Or am I in my mind kind of staying in my fantasy realm of what I would like to see, but I'm not factoring in that fantasy, in that dreamlike state, the change that comes with it. I'm already looking at, the end goal, the success, the health, the being able to have 3-day work weeks if I feel like it, because I'm my own boss kind of thing. Like I'm already seeing that, and I'm living in that thought. And that's what's making the change to get there so hard, because I'm not staying rooted and grounded in the now. I think it's great for me to have the end goal in sight. It's great for me to see this is what I am able to have. This is what I deserve to have. I feel like there's a piece of us that feel like I can never have that. There's no way. There's no way. I'm not. And then the enough statement starts. I'm not good enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not skilled. All of that starts to rein in. And I feel like I've gotten to the point of the enough statements don't faze me, because I've come into the mentality that I will never know if I don't try, because otherwise I will stay in this paralyzed state and in a place where I don't like where I'm at. I don't like my work or something like that. Like my lifestyle is just not reflective of who I know I can be, as well as like who I feel like, not who I feel like, but like what I feel like I deserve. And not in a selfish sense, because I know that there are people out there who feel like they deserve a lot without the work. And that's like, I think that's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to become that person who feels entitled to things and I'm not willing to roll up my sleeves and earn it. That's definitely something that my mom really kind of instilled in me. She handouts, all of that. She's not for it. She doesn't want to ask for help sometimes. And it's hard, and she's had to kind of help me understand, like, you're going to need to ask for help sometimes. It's okay. I get not wanting that. But she doesn't want to owe people anything. She'd rather earn it herself. And that discipline is something that I struggle with, you know, because I'm still a microwave kid. Don't get me wrong. There are moments where I'm just like, why can't I just pop it in the microwave and instant success, right? But you know, it doesn't always work that way, and it shouldn't. You know, I feel like there are some things, yes, that there are small, quick victories that are helpful. You know, if you had to do everything the long way, I feel like, yeah, it would be boring. Life would kind of be really difficult. So I do think that there is a place for success and short wins and being able to accomplish something quickly. I just feel like it's like an 80-20 kind of thing. You know, it shouldn't be everything. So that's just, you know, kind of what I wanted to share. This aha moment, if you will, of like, oh, okay, I get it now. I get it. And I'm very critical of myself, because I often find, I find accomplishment in an acknowledgement from others. I feel accomplished when someone else says, hey, you did great and you accomplished this and you should be proud. Like, I need permission from other people to be okay with everything that I've done. And I'm unwiring that thinking. You know, I'm completely ripping that mentality away. I have a very hard time boosting myself and psyching myself up and being like, hey, you are great. You are strong. You are smart. You know, I will say school has been one of those areas where it's hard to talk about with people, because a lot of people don't realize that I can say that I went to school. It doesn't mean that I finished. And people assume that you finished. I did about 2 years and I dropped out. You know, I dropped out. And, you know, I tried to go back, but it just didn't serve me the right way because, you know, one, I feel like the school system in and itself is not set up well for people to be successful, you know, and I took huge issue with that. And I didn't like that I couldn't have the classes that really meant something for me and really could help me build my dream, without having to jump through all these hoops. And then on top of that, I spend the money and put in the hours. And if it doesn't line up with this degree plan, you don't get to graduate, even if the amount of hours that it takes to graduate are there. So I just fizzled out with that. And the looks that I would get, when they're like, oh, so you went to this university? I'm like, yeah, didn't finish, but you know, I went. And they're like, oh, I thought I just assumed. Yeah, you did. You assumed that I got a degree in my hand. And of course that creates a whole nother host of societal, judgment, you know, but I could go on that, all day. That's a rant and tangent for another day. So all of that to say, I just wanted to, again, pop on and share this moment of clarity that I had, because if I'm feeling this way, I can only imagine if you guys are out there feeling this way. And there was a small moment, in the midst of this just agitated, heavy time, where I really wanted to give up on this. It was just like, no, what did I get into? You know, I did the, my first, guest appearance, with the Loving Your Soul podcast. Love Britt, shout out to her. And I got so energized and pumped. And then I started working on everything. And then, you know, I still remember, like, I have to maintain my day job, my Clark Kent, you know, in order to be able to do this, in order to be able to be Superwoman full time. Right. But I just started to feel heavy. I just started like, no, I'm not good enough. No, I can't do this. Oh crap. Now I've just set people up for this expectation that they're going to get this whole season and I am struggling. And, you know, the show launch is coming up and I I don't have enough done. What am I going to do? Like, I have so much short time left to really just knock out the entire to-do list, because I need to knock out the entire to-do list. You know, like, what if it's not perfect? What if people don't like it? What if, oh my God, just this cycle, guys, just this deep cycle where I am just drowning in myself. Because at this particular point, the only thing that is going to propel me forward into my success, into my dreams, is me. Or if you're feeling the same way, it's you. It's really you. As I'm staring at this sign on my wall that says, be true to who you are. Right? And that's the thing that I needed to recognize, is I was feeling all of this stuff, not recognizing the sign that this is the part. This is where change. I'm getting goosebumps, y'all. This is the part where you grow. This is the part where you change. This is the part where you have to step past this. You have to push through this, because the universe is not going to bless me with the things that I'm trying to manifest if I don't shed the skin that's holding me back. So I hope that helps somebody. I hope that if you are out there and you're kind of feeling that same, just like heavy, at least for me, that's how it kind of came. Like, my energy was low. I became very agitated, with friends and family. They don't even know it. Only a handful actually caught the interaction. But I would just reserve myself, because I just didn't want to project that energy on people. When I'm in a bad mood, I used to not think about that. I used to just, if somebody crossed my path, they caught it. But now I'm like, they have no clue what I'm going through right now. And it's up to me to speak up and say, hey, I'm going through a hard time right now, and I just need some grace and some patience. Or, you know what? I'm going to hang back. I'm going to check myself. I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to limit, especially with work, it's hard. It's very hard when you're in meetings and stuff. And so I just limited myself to speaking to what I needed to, and then heads down. I put that energy into work. Just be productive, take some breaks, breathe. I'm not kidding you guys. I really used to feel like everybody who responded with, you just need to breathe. I'm like, oh my God, I'm already breathing. I'm already doing that. Like, my body naturally just, inhale, exhale. But if I start to focus on that, I might stop breathing, but it really does matter. Taking those really long, deep breaths, even just, I say usually 3 for me is kind of a good place, because the first breath is the agitated breath. Like, this isn't going to help me. And then the second one is like, okay, maybe I'm being a little too uptight. And then the third one is like, okay, all right, I think I'm okay. Right? So it's just, it really does work. Even just doing that in that example, like, I already feel more grounded in my body, and more like, okay, more relaxed. Don't do those short ones. Do nice, deep, fill your lungs all the way up and push it all the way out. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share. If you're out there and you're feeling this way, it's okay. It is normal. It means something is coming, and you just need to allow yourself to be gentle with yourself. It's okay to feel what you're feeling, but shed it and be ready to take a step forward. Because if you stay in that, you might miss the opportunity. And I would hate to have you wandering, for a longer period of time than necessary, because you didn't see the signs that change is coming. And I think that's something that we aren't conditioned to really see or feel. So that's all I want to do is share. I know I said it like 4 times now. I hope you guys are having a great day, great week, great weekend, wherever you are when you're listening to this. And I'll catch you guys next time.